So you can see I have a D-cut saw. It's a good saw, but the foot peg actually never worked. So I just cut it, tied it together. So I have to plug it in, turn it on, and unplug it, turn it off. But it is a good saw though. So don't let that deter you if you're thinking about buying one. So anyways, I've already got my arrows measured. I know that I need them at 29.5 inches. I'm gonna be using these 75 grain outserts. I'm going back to the original that I've been using for 100 years. Easton Axis 5mm. They fly good. I'm gonna use the 1/2 ounce on them. So give me a little extra weight. All right, guys, I got it plugged in. I'm gonna just stick it in here. I don't like to hold it in the middle because I feel like you can bowl it. I like to hold it right here where I'm doing my cutting. I'll get the rest of it. All right, guys, so I cut them at 28.5 because this 1/2 outsert is another 1/2 inch. Put that in there. That gives me a total of 29 inches. So I like to shoot the length of the arrow as my draw, and my draw is 29. So you can use a squaring tool on the end if you want to. You can see these are good. What I do is, after I cut them, I put into my shaft in here. Then I take this and I slide it in front of the blade. This has a little tool on the end where you can twist it, and it does real minute adjustments. I'll twist it just like a quarter turn, and then I'll just spin my arrow around the inside of the blade, not the edge of the blade, but say this is the edge of the blade that would originally cut it. I let my arrow go up against the blade on the inside, and then I just spin it a few times, and that's how I square mine up, and it always works good for me. The squaring tools they give you in the kit's not that great, and I just don't see the point in buying one when I've literally been doing it this way for ever, and I've never had a problem with it. So another thing too that I didn't really show you guys is I use this little spin tester. I've already spun tested all of them to make sure they were good, and what I'll do is if I get one that's wobbly, because so when you buy arrows, when they're saying the straightness is 0.1 or whatever it is, they're only talking about I can't remember exactly how many inches, but it's like 16 or 20 inches of the center of the arrow. They're not talking about all the way to this end or all the way to this end. So sometimes you may have to cut a little off of each end to get it perfect. If this end is spinning crappy, then pull that knock and cut a little bit. If you're cutting, I'm cutting this much off, so you could cut half off of here and half off of here or whatever. Some people don't like their name brands and logos being crooked, but I really don't give a crap about that. However, on these arrows, they all spun pretty good. So I just cut everything off of the same end, opposite of the knot. All right, guys, so what I do now is I have a mouse pad that I use for my arrow wraps, and if you'll see on this mouse pad, I have a mark here, a mark there, and then it says wrap in the middle. What that is I know whenever I take my knock and I line my knock up on this side right there, I lay my wrap here between these two marks, and then I put my arrow knock here, and when I roll it up, that puts my wrap exactly where I want it. So I'll show you guys here in just a second. And then also, I'm using boning wraps. I like the short ones. I really love these reflector ones because you shoot a deer and you're trying to look for your arrow after dark, which a lot of us shoot a deer right before dark. Man, you hit that with a light, them things shine like a beacon. So they're awesome. And now I've never used these vanes before, but this is they're called Heat by Boning. I think they're 2.5 inches long. So I like all my stuff white. The easier it is to see, the easier it is for me. So they're called Heat by Boning. It says there's 100 pack. I think, I didn't throw the ticket away. I don't know how much I paid for them. They're like, I don't know, $18 or $20. Each vane is 6 grains. They're 2.5 inches long, so I'm gonna give them a good try. The wraps are by Boning. They're 4-inch arrow wraps, and like I said, they're pretty cheap, but the reflective part is awesome. So, all right, so I usually use acetone, but I don't have any, so I went to my Savior, my little wife, and she gave me this fingernail polish remover. I'm pretty sure it's going to work just as good. So first thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and wrap your arrows, or not wrap your arrows, clean your arrows off real good. Make sure there's nothing, no dust or anything from the store. You don't know how long they had them or stored them. Clean that well. You can see what came off of there. You don't want anything on there that can cause your wrap to become loose, because your wrap is actually what's going to be holding your fletchings on. So anyway, clean them up real good. I'll flip this over usually after I do 3. That way I get another fresh side with no dust. Now, if you're picky about your logo, you can use acetone. This stuff might do it too, and it'll wipe that logo off. It'll take that logo off for you, but I could care less about the logo. And if you're interested, this is Soak Off Professional Nail Polish Soak Off Gel and All Nail Coatings, made by Onyx. I don't know. Anyway, my wife saved the day with that stuff. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap these. I'm gonna put this camera down where you can see, and hopefully you can see what I got going on. So you're just gonna take your wrap, peel one off. Try not to get your fingers on there much, because it will stick to your hand. So you can see here, I'm gonna line it up between those 2 marks, and then I also line it up with this black line so I know that it's square. So I have it lined up between my 2 pin marks, and then I have it square with this black line. Now you take my arrow and I'll square my arrow up with this line and put my knock on the very edge here. So that way they're all the same. Now my arrow is square with that black line, so I know my arrow and my wrap is the same. I'll slide it over till it touches the wrap, and then just roll it on. And I usually give it a couple rolls like that. And there you have the perfect wrap. So that's why you want to use a mouse pad, because it's squishy, and when you push this down and roll it, pretty much if you get any bubbles or anything out of it, but it also makes sure that you get good contact on everything. If you do it on a hard surface, you can have gaps in it. So we'll do one more. And if you're anal, make sure you put this the same on every time. I'm not anal, but I could care less how it looks. I just want it to kill. I'll line up my 2 pin marks, and then line it up with the black line again. Good Lord. Remember I told you these bad boys are sticky, which is good. That's what you want. All right, so I'm lined up with my 2 pin marks here and here. I'm lined up. Yeah, I was. I'm lined up with my black line across here. I'll take my next arrow and get my knock where I want it, lined up with this even line here, Then I'll line my arrow, eyeball it up with that black line there, slide it down till I see my wrap move a little bit. Press, keeping your fingers out from where you're going to be sticking, and roll it to you. And we have another beautiful wrap. Alright guys, what I'll do now is I'll just take me a handful of beans. Take me a handful of beans out of them over here. I'll put 2 at a time. My Bitzenberger jig. Just like this. Take some of these fingernail polish remover and I'll just wipe my veins real good like that, and then I'll lay them out. That way I know there's no dust or anything on there that's going to make them not stick. And I'll just do me a few of them. Alright guys, so I have all my veins cleaned up and ready. Now I usually would take this and wipe this down a little bit just to be safe. Stick it in my jig. Now I have it set up on a 3 fletch. I've already took this, put it on here, and I've checked that I have a good contact all the way across. If you don't have a good contact, the thing to do is loosen this one and this one. You can roll these around and that will move this in or out, which can get you a good line. Make sure you have good contact. I have a mark right here. That's where I will put my fletching, the back of my fletching, just like that. The reason I don't go all the way down here is because most of all my bows are really short, so I have a pretty steep string angle, which makes me need to get my hand a little back further on my face sometimes to get a good peep, to get a good sight picture through my peep. So anyway, so now I have that on there. I'll take my glue, have my arrow in there ready to go. Take my glue, my jig, and I just give it a little bitty tiny bit, maybe, as soon as I can get it to come out. Well, maybe I need to check on this glue. Yeah, let me see if I can get this glue unclogged. All right, we're gonna try again. So, again, a little bit goes a long ways. Want just a little dab in there, and then just kind of spread it out with your actual glue bottle. I like to spread it around. Then I'll take mine kind of on an angle and wipe it both sides. Make sure you push that bottom down all the way up against there, right there. Slide it in. I'll put a little pressure on it and hold it for about 10 seconds. Pull it off. Roll it. I'm ready for the next one. Hold my next one in. Now on this one, even though I have this mark that I use, I like to check it up against the fletching that's already on there and make sure that they're in a perfect line before I glue it and stick it. Again, a little, throw that sucker away. Put a little glue. Move it around in there, make sure you get good coverage. I like to wipe the edges. You don't have to, but that's something I like to do. Make sure this end is all the way on here. press and hold 10 seconds. I noticed that one didn't stay stuck. There we go. I'll roll it. One more. I line it up with my mark. Now I check it with my other fletching. Looks good. Put me some glue. Smear it around. I like to wipe my edge and stick it. Hold it for 10 seconds. Pull it off, pull it out, and there you have it. A beautiful, let me see where the angle is. Beautiful fletched arrow. Now what I'll do next is, I seen John Dudley do this, he called it tip and tail or whatever. Put a little dot, little dab right on the back of each one of your veins. Little bitty dab. And then just kind of wipe it in. And then do the same thing on the front side. It's just a little tiny dab. This glue is kind of stringy. I've never used it before, but that's what the guy up there told me they've been using. I definitely like the AAE glue better, but as you can see, mine's jacked. Not gonna work. So there you go. Good close up. Looking beautiful, baby. That's all it is to it for putting your fletchings on. Now to put in the insert, I don't use hot melt or none of that crap. I've been shooting these for years and years and years, and all different kinds of arrows and inserts, and hot melt pulls out in targets, you lose them, blah blah blah. I literally take the same glue, I'll stick the arrow under my arm like this, take the same glue, the super glue don't come out. I'm not planning on pulling these inserts out or none of that crap. Put it on the insert, twist it, stick it in with a good twist on it. Take my little rag here and wipe her down. And there you have it. That will not pull out in the target. I might break the arrow or something else, but it ain't gonna pull out in the target. So that's it.